Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
They say for every light in this world, there is a shadow waiting to reclaim it. We've been told what to believe, what to fear, and exactly where the boundaries of real end. But tonight, we're crossing those lines. From the whispers in the attic to the lights in the desert sky and the entities that walk among us, we are stepping behind the veil. Transmitting from deep within the mountains of West Virginia, it's time to seek the truth. This is Let's Find Out with Diego. And now, here is your host, Diego the Podcaster.
On this episode of Let's Find Out, our guest is the founder of the Crypto Crew, an organization specializing in cryptozoology and paranormal research. He's a Kentucky-based filmmaker, author, writer, researcher, and investigator whose work bridges mystery, folklore, and raw indie authenticity. As the founder of the TCC Research, he has built a loyal following by diving headfirst into cryptid lore, paranormal investigations, and regional legends. All this plus more. Please welcome our good friend and founder of the Crypto Crew, Thomas Marcum. Thomas, my friend, welcome back to Let's Find Out.
Buddy, it's been a long time, and it's probably been over a year or so since I've been on here. So thanks for having me back again, and hopefully we can have some quality entertainment and conversation.
Oh, for sure we do. And I know I'm going to definitely be picking your brain because you're like the encyclopedia of cryptids and paranormal and UFOs. You do it all, man. I don't know where you find the time.
Man, don't lay the encyclopedia on me, man. It's I'm getting older, and I've probably forgot a lot of stuff.
That's okay. So if it'll be new to you if I say, hey, something like, oh yeah, I remember that now. But no,
There you go.
I'm kidding, man. And last time we were on, we talked about your last book was Mysteries Unlimited Kentucky.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of follow-ups with that series you coming out with.
Mhm.
But we're going to get into that here very, very soon. Like always, I always say you're a very busy man. We text back and forth a couple times a week. You're always working on a project, a film. You have your 24/7 channel on YouTube, and you're also proofreading books for new authors, publishing books, and also writing and publishing your own books. So I don't know where you sleep. Do you sleep?
Not enough. You forgot one thing though too.
I know I did. That's my
Uh,
age.
I edit movies for everybody too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
And
doing all that too.
well, you know what? That's good, man, because now, which brings me to the question I was going to ask you. With as long as you've been doing this, now you have what, 40 films, right? Or a little over 40 films.
In our whole catalog, we'll probably have somewhere around 60, 65 films, but my personal films are probably somewhere around 25 or so, or 30, something like that.
And well, I mean, it's still a huge accomplishment, huge number of films and documentaries that you've produced. You're going out there researching as well. You also have some partners every once in a while that'll join you during the research and investigations. But I like to go back in time, Tom, because
Okay.
a time before zombie media existed, before the Crypto Crew existed, what was going on in your life at that time, right before you decided to start Zombie?
Well, before I started Zombie Media, I was already doing cryptid research, of course. But prior to cryptid research, or actually forming the actual group, I was doing research. Uh, Probably, gosh, I guess I was in my early 20s. And of course, that was before there was a online explosion of websites or really the internet in general. There wasn't a whole lot going on back then. Uh, so I didn't realize that cryptids and Bigfoot and UFOs was such a popular thing and that there was a lot of people into it. And even for years after the internet came out and there was web pages and stuff like that, I still didn't really share anything online because I didn't realize there was a large community out there that were actually interested in that stuff. I just kind of shared it in forums and things like that to people I played a few video games with or people I knew personally. That's mostly how I shared information with people. And then eventually, in I think 2011, I think I eventually put the actual TCC group together. What it was under a different name, but we ran into there was a UFO guy. I don't even remember his name, and he used something very similar to what I named the group. And I got a one of those nice lawyer letters to stop using the group. Stop using the name. So I had to change the name, and we changed the name then to the Crypto Crew. Well, that was before the explosion of cryptocurrency. So with the word crypto in my name of my group, I was bombarded with cryptocurrency stuff, messages, and buy this and buy that and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up changing the name again to what it currently is.
No joke on that part. When I put anytime on my bio, one of my socials, cryptozoology, people start messaging me about cryptocurrency and this, like, cryptozoology was a thing long before crypto.
Right.
So, but
Well, the thing is, I had these websites or social media sites, and it would say the Crypto Crew, and the description would talk about Bigfoot, UFOs, and things like that. And they'd send me a message or, hey, you want to buy some crypto coins? What in that description says it's cryptocurrency, man?
right, it's just like when you have your resume at one of those sites and they send you these job openings. Like, did you even read my resume, bro? But I get it. And I think at the time you're talking about, there wasn't really much going on online, and I think there were probably some versions of social medias back then. But I think MySpace was one of those that I was really into, especially my wrestling days. That's when you start really being able to connect with other people. Were you on MySpace back then as well?
Yeah, I was on MySpace. It was pretty cool. There was a lot of things you could do with it that you really can't do now in a way, as far as embed music and things like that. And I liked it pretty well. But Tom sold us out.
He did. He was my first friend on there. He was
Yeah,
very nice of him.
yeah.
No, but no, he made several $1 million out of it. So I guess the joke is on us because we thought he completely got his butt whipped by Zuckerberg, but not really. He came out okay. But now, during that same time,
Mhm.
what was the first film that you produced for based on your research? What was it called? What was it about?
The first film I did was probably around 2013. Well, let me back up just a little bit. My job was video stores. I owned a couple small video stores and ran them for years. So I was already into the videos and movies and things like that, even before I got into probably Bigfoot stuff, I guess. But anyways, and long around about 2013 is when I made my first film, which was it's terrible. It's got some good information in it and some good stuff in it, but it's terrible. Uh, it was called the Bigfoot Tracking the Legend, and I shot it with like a $20 camera or something, and it all come about because of my dad. My dad had a sighting, and it was fairly close to where I'm at, about probably 20 minutes away. And my dad never did believe in Bigfoot, and he kind of made fun of me. Uh, what father wouldn't? And but one crossed across the road in front of him, probably about 30 feet in front of his vehicle. And so once he finally told me 5 days later, I went into that area, found tracks, found over 30 tracks at one time, and all kinds of stick structures and had vocals and everything in that one area. But I had seen some films on Amazon that they were bad, and I thought, I can do that. I thought to myself, I can do that. I can make a film, and so I did, and it was just equally as bad. But I got better at it as time went on. Still not good at it, but I got better at it.
Well, we got people now that are making full films just on their cell phones. And some of them look very good. What are you using now? What kind of equipment are you using?
See, I've got a, I got a Sony, and I've got a Canon, and I got an older Canon, and I've got a Panasonic, which is 4K, which is really good. I like it. I've not got a chance to use it a whole lot. Uh, Most of those also have night shots on it where you can film at night, which of course you have to use external light to really make it where you can see anything. But this last camera was purchased was probably my best camera as far as quality, and it's kind of a pro consumer model, which the name of it escapes me, the model number. But it's been a very good camera. What little bit I've got to use it, and before that I got a Sony, which I still use, a Sony. It's called a 53, I think it's called. They make a 43 and a 53. The 53 is what I got, which is it was an expensive camera too, and it's very good. It has built-in gimbal in it, so if you're having to move quickly like I do sometime in the woods or whatever, you don't get so much shake and blur and things like that. So
And while you're out there, and I'm talking about being out there in the woods because I know you're there an awful lot. You have to because this is what you're known for. What's the last thing that you've seen out there? I mean, it doesn't have to be cryptid. Have you
well,
seen any kind of like mountain lions or any kind of strange bears or anything like that?
oh well, we have bears and stuff here in our yard a lot of times. Actually, it was a coyote. I took a picture the other day of a coyote that was in the daytime that was coming through my neighbor's yard, and I think it was out of some chickens. My cousin has some chickens, and they just run loose or free roaming, and so I think it was after those. But in the daytime, it's right there, and in the yard across the road. And then we had a fox that was killed just the other day here on the road. But bears, well, we get all that stuff here. But I guess as far as cryptid or unusual thing that I've seen recently was a UFO. Probably, I think it was around April the 26th or 7th, something like that. I did film it. It was in the western sky, low, very bright, no sound, no flashing lights. It wasn't a drone. I have two drones as well. We was talking about cameras. I should have mentioned that, I guess. But I've got two drones, so I know what drones look like, act like, behave like. This thing was moving away from me, changing colors, moving back and forth slightly. Uh, the thing was, there was two other witnesses seen it about an hour prior to me seeing it, and it was. They said it was coming this direction, which would have been my direction. That was probably well, I know that was the most recent uh, unusual sighting that I've had.
I'm glad you bring the topic up of UFOs and talk about you captured this image on your camera recently. I think it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago that they finally came out with some sort of we call it disclosure, but to me it didn't look like a whole lot of anything because the quality of the video and the image that was shown was very poor. I'm thinking there's millions of dollars or billions of dollars invested into some of this equipment, and we get some really crap footage. Um, if you were to compare it to the footage recently released to the footage that you have, how does that compare? Not saying your equipment is crap, but I'm saying as far as the clarity or, okay, so let me walk that back, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I understand what you said. Well, what they took and what they released has mostly been stuff that is night vision type material. I shot mine actually with my cell phone, and what you'll get with my little stupid video is that I give commentary, and at the end, I actually show the sky the next day and point out Venus, so you know it wasn't Venus. And what we're getting with these videos that they're releasing, and some of them are interesting, is that we're not really getting no narrative to them. They're just dumping them out. As a matter of fact, they dumped out a bunch today, if I'm not mistaken. And you've got a few more things that kind of looks like balloons floating around. But one thing that I saw today was interesting is they're tracking this light anomaly, and it's coming along pretty easy. Not once it's gone. I mean, instantly. That I find that kind of interesting, and the narrative that we are getting that's not actually to the videos is that these things are not from another planet. They're not extraterrestrials. There's no proof of it. There's no danger. Well, if they know that much, why can't they tell us exactly what they are?
Right. And I guess in their cases, we said UFO, but we didn't mean
Right.
aliens. It could be anything. And that's how they get you. There's always a fine print to that. But out of all those things that you've seen, what do you think it is?
Well, it's not a popular opinion what I think some of them are, uh, and people may not like this answer, but it's okay. You got I can have my opinion, you can have yours. I think they are part of the great deception that's going to come of a thing called the rapture, which is not biblical. And I think these beings are probably fallen angels or offspring of some kind of the Nephilim, what we call Nephilim, uh, that will come and show these people and say, hey, we're here to fly you away. This is what you've been waiting for, the rapture. And there's a whole bunch of people that's going to get on the boat, and they got on the wrong boat. That's my opinion in a nutshell. I can go deeper in it, but we might get too religious and too biblical on it. But that's my first impression. And I should say this too. Maybe some of them are not those. They are actually beings from another planet or something of that nature. Or I think some of it is spiritual or energy light is some of it. So I think we got more than one phenomenon going on that we're just throwing under the banner of UFO, UAP.
Yeah, and I guess for the general public, it would make sense to put it as a UAP or UFO because it's unexplained, quote unquote, right? Now, these, I'll call these anomalies or these UFOs, whatever we want to call them. Do you think they're actually from other planets, or is it something that comes from this Earth itself? Because sometimes, I mean, there's a popular theory that these extraterrestrials have never left Earth. They've been here. They're either underground or embedded in our culture, whether they're reptilians or inside of our, I don't want to say government, but there you go, somewhere in there doing their thing with our leaders. It's hard to
Well,
say.
I think that some of them probably do come from inner Earth or maybe over our oceans. A lot of our ocean is unexplored. We can't get to just so deep, and there's a lot of it that's just not explorable for us. So yeah, maybe they come from there. Maybe there's some, but where did they come from originally? That's kind of the question.
Hmm.
Maybe they come from another planet originally, and they've been here for who knows how many years. But I think there's the last I seen is there's like they want to confirm like 13 or 20 some races for sure, but there's probably way more than that. I've not kept up with the UFO stuff a lot over the years. That was my first passion was UFOs. Seen some weird stuff when I was a kid. I was probably somewhere around 18-year old, uh, and that kind of fueled me a little bit as far as having a curiosity about them. And over my lifetime, I've seen several UFOs that was totally unexplainable, ahead of what anything that we have even nowadays militarily wise. Never seen no aliens per se that I know that I know of. If they like the reptilians, they say they can look just like us or whatever for a brief period of time. But I've never seen anything like that. But I have seen things in the sky that it's just amazing. Watched it turn invisible. Uh, seen things that were circular, that was very low. I mean, you could have shot it with a rifle easily. Looked like a fluorescent light on the bottom, just moving, gliding real slow. Me and my wife actually seen that. We was coming in from work late one night around about 12 o'clock. And it's right over our house. And I watched it go to a mountain ridge and then go out the mountain ridge. So there is definitely something to the UFO stuff. Uh, I would like to know the answer, 100% fact. But right now we're just kind of throwing darts and hoping, and some of it's probably right and some of it's probably wrong.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you've seen more UFOs. I guess the average person would see, or even people who are into the UFO field may not have seen as many as you. Now, has this been throughout your whole life, or is there a certain period of your time when it started?
Well, I guess it started when I was, like I said, 8 or 10 year old, and I seen that first big. It was a big like flash in the sky. But after that, every few years I seen them. One was here close to the house. I could lay on my couch and look out the window and see it, and I watched it for over an hour, and it was kind of circular but not perfect circle, and it would wobble. It'd go so far down and wobble, then it shoot back up and then wobble back down a little bit. And I watched it for an hour. I got tired of watching it. That's how long I watched it, and I showed it to my wife. Even seen it at the time, and but I finally went away and done something else to come back and it was gone. And then I had one time that was I know you've seen these. I've seen pictures of them. They look like a silver ball. Uh, I said I was going to work, and I seen this one in the same place every day for like 4 or 5 days, and I decided. I said, well, I am going to take me a camera, and if that thing's there, I'm going to pull off on the side of the road, and I'm going to take a picture of it. Well, sure enough, it was there. So I pulled the car off the road, and I stepped out of the car, and I got the camera out. And as I put the camera up to my face, because this was probably back in the middle of '90s, when I put the camera up to my face to take the picture, the thing zipped in behind the cloud, and I waited and waited, and it never came back out, and I never seen it in that spot again.
It's almost like it knew. I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's amazing because you have some of this footage saved somewhere, and I'm not really sure. Have you ever released any of this in one of your films? Are you planning on doing anything about, like running a special on it?
Well, I've talked about it in some of my books. Uh, the UFO book I did, which I think it's I saw a UFO. I think is what the title of it is. It's been a while. I've done that, and that was several years ago. Uh, I talk about it a little bit in that, uh, and I might even talk about it a little bit in one of my Bigfoot books. I can't remember, but I would like to do a movie, a documentary on UFOs. I have some footage from various people around in this area, and I have some people that I can interview. But the last 3 years have been really hard for me to do a whole lot. I've had, like my dad passed away. My mom had a massive stroke, but she is still with us, and it just disrupted my whole workflow. But things are a lot more normal now, so I am turning out some stuff that I'm way behind on.
Well, with those things, you're very well known in Kentucky. You're a Kentucky man, and I would imagine that either your neighbors or people around town, when you walk around, you get a lot of people come up to you and ask you questions, either way about UFOs or Bigfoot.
Bigfoot a lot. I get a lot of Bigfoot questions, and I sometimes, occasionally, somebody will recognize me. If I'm out of the area, they'll recognize me from like the movies or something, which is it's kind of nice, really. I don't lie. I won't lie about it. It's kind of nice to be recognized for doing anything that's kind of positive. But yeah, locally, I get a lot of questions about Bigfoot, or people that kind of poke a little innocent fun or something like that. Hey, have you found Bigfoot or something like that? No, I'm still looking.
Well, being that you're a Kentucky man, yeah, I'm gonna call you the mayor of your town when it comes to everything cryptid or Bigfoots and UFOs, of course. I kid, but everybody that I've been that knowing you always says very good things about you and says if you got questions, go to Thomas. He'll definitely be able to answer these questions. But you going from Kentucky, and then we had Mysteries Unlimited Kentucky, but now we have Mysteries Unlimited Tennessee. What grabbed your attention about Tennessee?
Well, the idea behind the series is to do a lot of the southern states, the Appalachian region states, because the Appalachian mountain range has got a lot of history, weird stories, weird sightings, weird animals. Uh, so it's just a wellspring of good stories that you have to do a little digging for them. And when I was doing the Tennessee book, uh, Mysteries Unlimited Tennessee, there was so much that I found that was odd, unusual stories that I actually have enough to do a part two to Tennessee, and I do want to do that at some point. A part two is the Tennessee mystery thing, but there's a lot of obscure stories, and these ain't just things that that I just made up or just found small tidbits of. I researched each story, looked for newspaper articles and things like that, and witness testimony and stuff like that to kind of piece it all together. And I do use AI to because I'm not a very good speller. Believe it or not, I'm not a good speller. Uh, so I use AI to correct my punctuation and spelling. Before that, I used Grammarly, which was pretty good, and I still use it some. But when I was, I'm gonna tell this on myself. when I was dating my wife, she lived in Michigan, I lived in Kentucky, long distance romance. They can work. We've been married almost 35 years. Uh, I kept two dictionaries next to my bed to write love letters. So, I'm not a good speller, so I have to have a little help on the spelling sometimes. But I've got better at it over the years. The more you do it, I hated school. I always hated school. Still hate school. You got Google now. You don't need it as much as you get older.
Yeah, and I can completely understand because I mean, even like spell check in a way is kind of AI. It tells you when you're misspelling
Sure.
things, but sometimes spell check doesn't do that great of a job. And so you have all these other software that's even better. It's like, you really want to write this sentence like this? I can, fix it for you a little bit. So yeah, let's fix it for me. So I sound a little bit more smarter.
Well, well, here's the thing too. Yeah, with what I do, I have to use AI a lot, and I know people who are entirely writing books with AI. So, well, how do you know? Well, if you use AI as much as I do, there's there's markers in there that let you know. AI will get in a what we call an AI loop, and it'll spit out the same information, just slightly worded different. And I see people who, because I deal with editing books, of course, I see people who have just copied and pasted that in there. And there's artifacts. So, I have to deal with that kind of stuff. So AI is not always right. I find it to only be about 80% correct most of the time. It misses some stuff and it messes some stuff up. So, it's a good tool if you use it correctly, like for spelling, punctuating. Make sure you got your sentence structure, good, where people can understand what you're writing or wanting to say. It's good for artwork on some degrees. It's good for artwork. So I'm not against AI. I'm against letting AI do all the work.
Right. And well, that's the question. If you find some of this stuff with some of your authors, and I mean, I don't know who they are, so you don't have to mention any names. What do you give them? Say, hey, man, what are you trying to do here? Or you may want to fix this before I even release it.
Oh no, I'll go in and fix it for 'em most of the time.
Mm,
I would not want to intentionally put anything out that would make anybody look bad.
mm.
So I try to fix it if I can. If it's too bad, of course, I have sent a few back before to other people and told them, man, can you reword this? Can you do this a little different right here? And sometimes it's not always just because I feel like it's an AI spit out. It's something maybe they've sometimes they'll miss a word or a sentence or they'll skip and it won't make sense. So I'll have to send it back to them and say, can you explain to me what's going on here? What you've missed something and it's kind of messed up the story. Can you correct it or tell me what I need to do? But I try to fix things if I find it. But I'm not I'm a publisher more and a distributor more than I'm an editor. The editor is just something you get basically for free with me. Most people charge a whole lot for that, and I don't charge anything for it. I just fix it because I want people's work to look good, and what I put out, I want it to be the best quality that we can do.
And talking about quality and talking about the information in the books, I'm gonna go back to your Mysteries Unlimited Tennessee because there's something in that book that about a creature that we also have here in West Virginia. I was surprised because sometimes some of these cryptids are very regional. It's basically just in this town or in this state. But sometimes certain cryptids, I mean, of course, Bigfoot is universal. You're going to see them everywhere. The Wampus cat.
Mm.
For the longest time, I thought it was only a West Virginia thing, but now it's popping up in Tennessee. So for those that haven't heard about the Wampus cat yet, what is that?
Well, we have it here too, and every region kind of varies a little bit. And some of them claim it's just a big giant cat type thing. Some of them claim it's just a black panther. So it varies a little bit by region. But yeah, it's kind of like the goat man. The goat man is kind of universal to the southern states and Appalachian region, but they're a little bit different descriptions of exactly what it looks like. So it's kind of falls into that category. We actually got a road here, a road named Wampus Cat Road or Lane, and there's another one too, Wampus Cat, something other else that's right together, but somebody stole one of the signs. So
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, I wouldn't say steal. Well, yeah, no, stop signs back when I was in my teenage years. And I mean, I did sort of weird things back then. But now that we're adults, we don't do these things. That's a
no.
side story. Forget I even mentioned it. So, what kind of other things did you find surprising about Tennessee? Because it's not just about cryptids. You know, you got some little paranormal, you got mysteries in there. There's one something about a boy that vanished without a trail during travel. What happened to that?
Well, there's several stories like that, so I don't recall exactly which one you're talking about, but there's several stories like that where people disappear and there's no trail, there's no rhyme or reason to, like foul play or anything like that. And it kind of leads you to believe that either they hid themselves on purpose, started a new life, which if it's a young person, usually that's not going to happen, or they're some kind of alien abduction, or possibly even a attack from some unknown or unconfirmed creature. So we get some of that too. We've had some of that here locally. Well, I say locally, it's about 45 minutes away. We had a two ladies that one of them was actually killed, and the other one was injured very bad, and they blamed it on dog like a pack of dogs, but they come out and looked, searched all around, they never could find any dogs. So I don't know. Seems odd to me.
It does because there was a lot of stories by research. I won't say his name because he's already popular, and I don't want to get it wrong, so he would be mad at me. But his whole thing is about people who vanish in these national forests and vanish without a trace, and they find him. I don't know if it's days or weeks later somewhere else, either fully clothed or it just look nothing's. They haven't decayed. I don't know. It's kind of weird how someone can just disappear. Then people can search in the same areas for hours, days, and weeks, and then nothing. Next thing you know, they're in the same area they just searched.
Well, it reminds me of the Travis Walton case. He disappeared for so many days. That's how the story goes, and then he was found like a town over. Uh, like I don't know how many. I can't remember how long later, but he was found so many days later, the next town over. Uh, I think that as far as the national park things go, I think a lot of those people suffer either a fall or some kind of medical condition or something happens, and probably animals get them most likely. Now in this area and a lot of times in like Tennessee and things, we have a lot of coyotes now. We actually have some wolves here, which people don't believe it, but I'm telling you, I found the tracks. We got wolves here. Uh, and even mountain lions. They say we don't have mountain lions, cougars, black panthers, whatever you want to call them. We do have those. I found their tracks. I've actually seen a black panther here. Uh, so I think sometimes some of those people that go missing and they don't ever find them is victim to things like that. But there are, even if you take all that in consideration, there's still some that are mysterious, and that's where people like me and you and other people who do this kind of thing, we just try to get all the puzzle pieces, put them together, and see if we can figure out what happened and why it happened and where they are now or whatever.
And that's one of the dangers going out there in these national forests. I mean, not only you can go with groups, but things can happen to you also in groups. But going by yourself, there's an extra added layer of danger. And I ask you this because I know you go out there a lot when you have time, and sometimes you're out there for a good amount of time. What is the most terrifying things that you've experienced by yourself? What have you seen?
Well, I've seen Bigfoot several times, but as far as something that is kind of spooky, uh, if once you're out there in the woods and you're looking for evidence of Bigfoot or whatever you're looking for, uh, you get concentrating on that. And I about stepped on snakes a few times, venomous snakes. Uh, and I don't mind them so bad, but I like to see them first. One of them was a copperhead, which most of the time those are not fatal, but if you're 3 hours back in the mountains, it could be because you can't get out in time. Uh, my foot was coming down on it, and I was just like a few inches off of stepping on it. and I was able to see it in time and get my foot away from it. To me, those are some of the scariest times. As far as a cryptid related scary time, uh, that was when I did the 2013 film we was talking about earlier, the Bigfoot tracking the legend. Even though I'd been researching Bigfoot a lot, uh, I never heard one speak before. When I was filming that and doing the investigation of where my dad saw this Bigfoot, I heard one talk, and that was frightening to me because I know I was alone in the woods. There was nobody there, uh, and I had the camera up, uh, documenting what I was finding, and I was talking to the camera, uh, and I heard something talking, and it wasn't far away. I'm talking 25 yards, 30 yards tops. Maybe probably wasn't even that far. Uh, it was in a big laurel thicket, and I thought my first thought was, "It's my dad. He's come to check on me." But it wasn't that because once I got home, there my mom and dad was gone. But that was a scary time, really, in the woods, and I've come face to face with a mama bearing four cubs while I was ginseng, and that was pretty scary. It was a great experience. Don't get me wrong. It was a little bit scary, but it was a great experience. I was so glad I had it. Me and her was probably 4 foot, 5 foot apart tops. They got bears have beautiful brown eyes. She looked me right in the eye, I looked her right in the eye, and I told her, "Get out of here." And she turned and went back just a little ways, and one of the cubs went up a tree, and I stayed in that area and dug ginseng probably an hour or more, and I could hear them up in there moving around, but she never bothered me after that. So,
And how deep in the woods? What's the furthest you've gone into the woods?
well, I did a 13-mile hike last year, year before last, and I hadn't actually been hiking in a while, and I did 13 miles in a day, me and my wife. And of course, she's a little small thing, and she's always very active, so it kind of got her a little bit tired, but it almost got me to the hospital.
No, we don't need that, man. We need you around healthy so you can keep putting out all this great content, of course, for your health as well. Now, another book that I've actually started reading the other day because I downloaded it, Mysteries Unlimited, Odd Facts Known by a Few. And that one's a little fun. It's a fun read so far,
Yeah.
only because of the some of the type of things that you've chosen to put in that book. And one that pops out the most, and I've heard about this, and I thought maybe somebody might be pulling my leg. It's about the headless chicken living for 18 months.
Yeah, yeah.
How does
I
that
think
even happen?
they fed it with an eyedropper or something. I think what it was. They fed it with an eyedropper. Yeah. Well, that book is kind of interesting, and it's kind of an offshoot to the Mystery Unlimited series. Uh, it was a how it kind of come about. I'm a big Andy Griffith Show fan. I like watching Andy Griffith, and in one of the episodes, Barney is reading a book or a magazine, maybe. It was Odd Facts Known by Few, and I thought, man, you know what? I'd like to do a book about that because there's a lot more odd facts nowadays than there probably were back then that we know about. And so I just started kind of piecing it together, and first started putting some things on my social media, odd facts about ketchup or odd facts about horses or something like that. And then I thought, I got enough stuff here. I could probably put a little book together. And so I just kind of started piecing it together over time. And everybody won't like it, and that's okay. Uh, but it's got a lot of weird stuff in it about even about the military and ketchup and cheese and all kinds of weird stuff.
Now, out of all those stories that you compiled, and I'm sure there's plenty you haven't put in yet, you might do a part another series based upon odd facts. Is there anything else there that stands out to you the most that you're like really surprised that you even read about it?
Oh, gee, I don't know. There's a whole lot of them that was kind of oddball stuff. But the ketchup thing, it was kind of an odd thing. I used it on my social media site too. Uh, Gosh, I don't know really. There's a lot of things in there I didn't know. That was the fun of researching it and seeing if it. You'll always see anything on the internet uh, that's an odd fact, but you got to check it out and make sure it's real. Make sure there's really some science behind it or some truth behind it. But yeah, that was a fun little book to put together. Uh, it hasn't sold very well, but that's okay. Sometimes I'll do the book as much for me as I do for anything else because I like it. I like putting them together. Sometimes if I got time, and if it sells good, that's it's a plus. But if it don't, that's okay. Somebody get a hold of it and like it somewhere.
Well, interesting that you mentioned that because on your social medias, you started putting more and more little interesting facts. And one thing that you yourself wrote, I think it was either today or yesterday, that sometimes a book's been out for a year or two, and then people just start reading them. Then is there some sort of logic to that? Is it just by chance? What does the metric say about that?
I really don't know the reason or rhyme behind it, but I think it was the actual fact is like 70% of books that sell are like 2 years old or something. You get your hot book, it comes out and it gets all the publicity, but that book may lead them to something else. And eventually, I guess it trickles down to books that are 1, 2 year old. And yeah, I thought that was an interesting fact too. It gives us hope for if we got our books out for a couple of years, we got a little hope that maybe it'll catch fire.
And I think it will because there's times where, because even musicians, they can put out tons of records, and sometimes it takes another generation to rediscover the music, and next thing you know, it's a hot seller, and nobody knows what rhyme or reason. But I'm glad they do. Because
Yeah, me too.
yeah,
Well, sometimes like you're talking about music. We was in what was it? It was one of these Joanne Fabric. Just been several years ago, and we heard a song on playing in Joanne Fabrics. I guess it was. I don't know if it's through their system or the radio. And I thought, that's kind of catchy. Well, I come and first thing I did, I got home, I looked it up on YouTube. Actually, we didn't. We done it in the car on the phone. We looked it up on YouTube, and it was an old song. It'd been out for several years, and I did have, I guess I still have it. I have a playlist on my YouTube, and that song's in there. And I still occasionally I get the urge to go listen to it. But yeah, it was several years old, and I discovered it by being in Joanne Fabrics looking for who knows what at the time. But yeah, you never know what's going to ignite a few sales. One person can go online and say, "Hey, I bought this book and I really like it," and next thing you know, you got people buying your book again or watching your movie.
and that's great. And there's plenty of movies to choose from. Now, I know that you distribute others' films, but you got your own there as well in different streaming services. Now, very interesting. Your first film that you put out there, is it still available today to view?
That film is only available on our YouTube channel. I don't know if maybe you don't even know on our YouTube channel we have a list called free documentaries, and it's documentary films that are so a lot of them we done, some of our clients, and we just put them on there for people to watch, and their ads run on it, and we pay people. We just like we'd like it was on anybody else's, and you can find it on there. I don't think it ever went to any of the other major streaming things, and I think I eventually pulled it offline because I'm telling you, it was kind of bad. There's some good stuff in it, and I'm glad I documented. The camera was terrible. Uh, the narration was probably terrible. The spelling was probably terrible. But there's some good findings in it. When there's one, I don't know if I show it all or not, but I found 32 tracks at one time. It's in one line. That day alone, I found probably close to 100 tracks. Uh, Stick structure the next day. Had the vocals. I mean, and had made a track casting, and eventually got the creature on game camera.
Well, let me ask you this. It's been several years since you released that film, and sometimes people go back and re-edit their work. How would you feel about going back and maybe just cleaning it up a little bit and putting extra stuff that you've found during the years as well? I think it might be a well worth it.
Well, I have used some clips from it. Uh, I taken like the game cam picture of the Bigfoot. I've used it in several other documentaries. A few clips from the original I've used for the original film. I've used it in other films, but I of course upgraded the film. You know, the visuals on it. Most time I take it to 4K. That's another thing that I do, and I was wanting to kind of turn it into a kind of another side business where I can take uh, uh, HD film or whatever and turn it into a 4K film. When I do that a lot of times, again, I do it for my clients. Usually it's no charge whatsoever. Uh, and not only can I do that, it takes out the duplicate frames. A lot of times, if people film with more than one camera, let's say they film one and they're filming at 30 frames per second, and they're filming with the other camera at 24 frames a second. Well, when they produce that out, that 24 frames has to make duplicate frames to make the 30. So it causes a major problem with the getting the film accepted into streaming services. I guess they use AI and stuff to look for those because your human eye really can't tell it, but it will kick a film out and it won't pass quality control. So I can upgrade that to 4K and fix those duplicate frames. So I do that a lot of times for my clients at no charge. And I do it on some of my films too because I have to because I forget. And I just noticed the other day that my cell phone camera is actually shooting at 24 frames per second. I don't. I like shooting at 29.97 or 30 frames a second is what I like to shoot in myself. But I hope that answered your question.
No, and it does. I mean, maybe down the road there'll be, I don't know, I can't remember how long ago it was, but say like a 15-year anniversary of this film and just have something more thrown in there. Now, with documentaries, for anybody out there that would be interested in certain filming their own, what are some of the basics or that somebody would be able to do to have a successful film put out, or not necessarily a film, but what would your best advice would be for someone who says, "I think I have enough stuff here for a documentary"? What's the
well,
best way for them to put it together?
my thing is if you want to make a film, is just do it. Uh, when I first started, it was I had no cameras, no real experience really, and wasn't very good at it. But the best way to get better at something is to do it. So if you can get all the parts together and get everything into a folder, then you just need to figure out how you want to edit it. How do you want to tell your story? How do you want to start it? Where's the hook? And how you want to end it? And lots of editing software out there, some free, some you can purchase. Uh, do something small. Start with a short film, something just for YouTube, just to get used to editing. Uh, None of us start out being a pro filmmaker or pro editor. We have to learn and we have to adapt because it's changing. If you take a year off, it's a totally different ball game. If you come back to it, you got to learn all over again. So it's better to kind of stay with it and adapt and change. And some of the changes I don't like, and I have to learn anyways, because the old way maybe don't work no more. They take it out of your software or whatever. But my advice is to just do it and learn as you go if you don't already know, and don't be afraid to fail. You'll learn many lessons by failing than being a one-hit wonder at success at something. If you fail, you'll create a better product the next time.
That's the same thing with podcasting, and you know all about that too because you've had podcasts in the past. You've had Mysteries Unlimited, which is originally a vodcast,
Yep.
from what I remember. So it's a trial and error, and I know you're very busy, and I know you're always working on something. But let's look at what's coming out next for Zombie because I know one of our good friends, Dustin Grammer, he just released Moo not long ago. And I'm sure he's working on something else. What are you working on? And what are some of your authors? What kind of books are coming out?
Okay, so you talk about Dustin. Dustin's a great guy. He's very, very, very creative in his writing, and I can appreciate that. I think readers appreciate that. The Moo like a cow, Moo, is doing really well, and it's being really well received, and it's very creative. And I don't know if he's told you where it came from, the idea about his little girl and stuff being afraid of cows, but
Yes.
really, really creative how they created it together. So uh, that's good. And we signed two new authors just a little while back, and their books came out. They're doing pretty well. Uh, but I'm working right now on a book for Jeb, uh, which is it's been really a good book. It's probably the biggest book that he's written as far as volume, and he is also a very creative writer. I wish people would actually look at some of his stuff a little more. It's very creative as well. On a personal level, what I'm working on right now mostly is films. Uh, I have, we do the Searching for Sasquatch series. I've got two of those that I got to get ready to go live, release, and I've got a paranormal adventures, which is also from Jason Kinsey. Uh, Number 6, I think, is what it is. And I got to get it finished up, and I'm working on a film project myself that it's been on the back burner for a little over a year, and it's called Bigfoot: The Invasion. Uh, it is fascinating. I talked to the people of this the other day. They're still having activity. There's been ongoing activity at this. I'll call it a farm, but that's basically what it is. Uh, Things looking in the window. I have pictures of that. Uh, Things on the roof. Things caught on security camera. Tall, hairy. It's Bigfoot. We went and stayed all night there. Me and Tony Pelosi. That's my partner in crime most of the time is Tony. If we go when we go filming and stuff, and even Jen saying he went with me last year, but we went and stayed all night at this farm. Uh, Used parabolic mic, night vision, drones. I mean, we really went there to film and document uh, what was going on there. But the byproduct of it was that we got eat up with chiggers and ticks, and it took forever to get rid of those things. I come home with the little ticks were so small. I mean, they just looked like a speck, a red speck. And I soaked myself in eucalyptus oil in the bathtub. Anybody who's got ticks, that's real small. Eucalyptus oil and a bathtub of water, it'll kill them. They'll float up, and they did. But the chiggers, I scratched and dug for months on those chiggers, man. I never got rid of those things. But hopefully, I can by the end of summer. I hope to get that film out. But there's other little projects too on the side I'm working on slowly. Probably nothing worth mentioning at this very moment.
Wow, I'm already on the hook for that one that's coming out, hopefully within the next few months. And I know that you have the YouTube channel, yeah, the cryptocrew.com. On the Facebook is facebook.com/TCC Research. You have X for Crypto Crew and Zombie Media Publishing, so Zombie Media Pub 1. So you're everywhere, my friend. You're global, you're worldwide.
Buddy, I'm trying. My biggest thing is marketing is really hard. The movie industry, the streaming industry per se, has really tightened down over the last couple years. A lot of the revenue is left. It's way harder to get onto a high tier streaming service because their inventory is loaded. So if their inventory is loaded, it makes it harder for them to say, "Hey, we want your new Bigfoot movie. We got 4,000 Bigfoot movies, but we want your Bigfoot movie next." It makes it very difficult to get on the platforms. So, and then of course the ad revenue has failed too because let's say they were charging $500 an ad to a company. Well, that $500 now is $200. So our cut comes from the $200, not the five. So it's less money for us. So what we would like to see is people watching some of our movies more. Turn them on while you're cleaning the house or whatever, and just let them go. Because it's the money is going way down compared to what it was. And I understand the market fluctuates like that. It gets tight at times, and at times it loosens up. But here recently, we've been able to get some good quality placements on our titles. We recently landed Bigfoot: The Legend Is Real on DirecTV, so that's very promising. We just landed a one of the Searching for Sasquatch films on Spark TV, which is also a good growing platform to be on. And we still use our YouTube. We want to have our own ecosystem as well that produces income for us when the actual industry is down a little bit. And you can always try to watch our Mysteries Unlimited TV, which is a 24/7 streaming of recorded programming, and it covers Bigfoot and all kinds of stuff. And I find it pretty good entertainment if you want to turn something on and watch it, kind of like a TV show, like a TV channel.
Now, before we go,
We
because
got
I
to leave.
know, oh yeah, because
What are you doing, buddy? Come on.
the the longer I stay, it's like having a fish. I overstay my welcome and I start to smell bad, man. So you don't want me around too long. But I mean, you've been doing this for a very long time. Cryptid, UFO, paranormal, mysteries. If you were to write another book or do a documentary or film or anything outside of that, what would you think you'd do?
Hmm. I would like to. There's a few things I'd like to do film wise. I would love to do a cartoon. I've been wanting to do a cartoon for years. Even it don't have to be something big and fancy. Just a little cartoon. It could be. I even thought about maybe doing some kind of Bible-based little cartoon. I would like to do that. And then go to the other end of the spectrum. I want to do a zombie movie. I've always liked zombie movies, even though a lot of it's tongue in cheek and it's kind of silly. I would like to do a zombie movie, and I would also like to do just some horror movies in general. But documentary wise, that's not in that field. I would like to do a documentary on the Cumberland River of all things. Uh, Cumberland River, I don't even know how many miles it runs, but I know uh, for my lifetime they used to float logs down it. People swam in it, fished in it, ate fish out of it, and I think there's probably a lot of good stories that could come from that. Book wise, I don't know. I have got a couple stories I've had on the back burner for a long time. Fictional stories. One of them, of course, does involve Bigfoot and drug dealing, but not Bigfoot being a drug dealer. But it's I don't know if he could do any good selling dope. Uh, but it's kind of a murder mystery type thing I've had on the back burner for a long time, and I have another one too that I've just kind of formed lately over the last few months, and it would kind of feel like a Stephen King type thing about people who die on their birthday, on the day they was born, the day they die. I kind of have a little thing I've been working on that, and but that would be the books. But I got a lot of things I'd like to get to. I don't know if I'll live long enough to do them, but who knows?
No. Yeah, I think you'll get them all done. But I know like I said, you're a very busy person, not only with your own works, but you're also releasing books for other people and editing movies and films and documentaries. I don't know where you invent the time, but I think you're the man to talk to as far as how to make time.
Well, I'm telling you, I try to be efficient. If I got something going on, like say I'm producing a movie out, I'll try to find something else productive to do during that time instead of just sitting there and twiddling your thumbs. But you're talking about being in the cryptid field for a long time. I've logged probably over 30 years at this in the cryptid field. I don't participate as much in the Bigfoot community online as I used to, just because there's so much hoaxing and faking and stuff like that, and it irritates me and it messes up my day sometimes. So I don't want to get involved in that, and so I just kind of do my own thing, and maybe in some ways I guess that hurts me because I'm not out there showing my stuff and all that, like I was. But I just can't all the hoaxing and faking and stuff. I just don't like it, and a lot of times they're inviting people to conventions that that really don't have any field experience of doing Bigfoot or UFOs or anything. They're more of a commentator, which is fine. We need commentators on things, but they're inviting people to conferences that don't have experience in the field, and that kind of hurts the conferences, I think. And I've not been to a conference in a good while. Our local conference that I really like to do, which was Harlan Haunt Fest, it was more of an event than an actual conference. But the guy passed away who did that due to COVID complications, and that's there's nobody. They tried to have it a year after that, I think, or something, but it didn't go as well. And some of the local people who put on smaller conferences that more Bigfoot related, one of them passed away as well recently, about probably in the last 6 or 8 months. And there's nobody really stepped up to do that. And I would like to do a conference, a Bigfoot conference, with guests like you and some speakers and things, but I just don't have the time to put it together, and I would want to have the time to do it correctly. And who knows, maybe someday I will get that done.
Well, if you're going to put it together, count me in, brother.
I figured I could count on you, man. You're a good guy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate the support that you've given, not only the show and myself and for publishing my first book, but just being all around awesome. And you take time to text me back and bounce back up and forth ideas. So I really thank you for that. And I thank you for being on the show. And I know that we can find more information about you. I mentioned it earlier on the cryptocrew.com and zombiemediapublishing.com. So we'll put all the links in the show descriptions, and we'll get them to find you, my friend. And thank you so much for being back on this show. I look forward to having you again, because I know by the time I have you back on, in probably about 6 months to a year, you'll probably have 3 more books out.
I hope so. I need the production, man.
All right. Thank you, my friend.
Copyright Diego the Podcaster. All content for Let's Find Out is the property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out with Diego is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.